Welcome to the podcast, Jamese. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for being on.
Thank you for inviting me. Such an honor. Thank you so much. It really
Yes.
is.
Well, I want to start out just by kind of a little introduction with you. So, if you can tell us who you are, where you're from, maybe, and what you do.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jamese Blake. I am from Rock Hill, South Carolina, born and bred. I love Rock Hill, love my city. I do real estate. I'm a realtor, licensed realtor here in South Carolina. I also have a part-time job because you have to keep bringing in that income. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I love my husband. I love my children. I have three boys. Have a wonderful family. My mom, my dad, my brother, my little sister. Like it's amazing. That's just a little bit about me.
I love it. So we met. I was just gonna tell a little backstory. We met 10 years ago, at least. We both worked at a hospital together. And one
Yeah.
of the things that stands out to me about you is your smile. You are always smiling. Like that is something that is so consistent. And I think something that just like draws, I mean, you just have such an energy, like people are drawn to you. And I think it's because, especially in that setting, hospital
Hmm.
can be good days, bad days. And sometimes it's
Right.
hard to stay positive, but you were so consistent in being positive that, man, you shone. Like, so I just want to thank you for that during those days. I mean, I still I see you there and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like yes, that's her.
Yeah, you were the same way. You were just like a ball of
Oh,
light walking into the hospital. I'd be like, oh my God, they got you.
thank you. So one of my questions to you is this might throw you off guard, but is there something, a quote, a mantra, a verse, a song that you tell yourself or play on repeat, or how is it that you're so happy?
Oh gosh, I do not know. I honestly don't know. I'm just grateful for the
Mm-hmm.
day. Just
Mm,
grateful for another day and just knowing that it could be worse. Just kind of rationalizing that, gosh, it could be worse and just keep it on that path. I know one of my favorite quotes growing up was attitudes are contagious. Is yours worth catching? Right. And
oh,
so that's always been something that has stuck in my head is that, gosh, I want to make sure that whatever kind of attitude I have, that it's a contagious attitude and it's one that's worth being contagious. So I guess that just kind of subconsciously stuck with me. But I don't know, being raised my family, if you met my family, like they are just comedians. We laugh all the time. Like we're just a very bright and pop, just being brought up in that. So it's just a part of my character, pretty much.
that's awesome. I love that. And what's cool is your family is close.
Yes, very close. Very, very close. Like
That's
this.
awesome. Yeah. Well, let's talk about, so you recently made a big career change and I'd love to hear about it.
Oh gosh, I did. It was so scary, Jill. Like it was so scary because I've always just battled with the spirit of fear for a long time. And as bright as my personality is, a lot of people don't know that there's like this little timid little girl on the inside that's just like so afraid to step out on faith and take on these challenges. And so I have a very, very close friend and mentor, and she was like, it's time. You should try it. Like I want you to experience, this brighter side of life. I want you to experience just this way of how you can change people's lives for the better in such an impactful way. Like you deserve this. And so I was like, okay. So I took the test, was scared. Oh my God, I've never been so stressed in my life, Gia. I was like, I know I'm not going to pass. I know I don't. Every question, I was like, I don't know this. I don't know this. And in the back of my mind, I could just hear God saying, stop that. Like, stop saying that you don't know. You do know, and you got this. I walked out of that exam room, and the lady was like, and I said, did I pass? She was like, yes, girl, you passed. And I was so excited, so happy, so relieved, like, oh, thank God. And so it's been the change, it was big for me. Like no one in my family does real estate. And the thing about real estate is that it affects everybody. I don't care who you are, what side of the tracks you come from. Real estate is going to affect your life in some kind of way. So for me to be the first one in my family to do it was amazing. It's been challenging because you get people and they're not ready, and so it's like, but it's just amazing because you still get to walk with them through the process. You don't let them go, you don't turn your back on them, which is something that I'm passionate about, is seeing people through something. So it's been amazing. It's been challenging, yes it has, but it's been amazing nonetheless, just to see people who think that owning a home is so far off and impossible, now saying, I think I can do this. It's one of the most wonderful things I've ever experienced.
That's amazing. I think we have a very similar heart for what kind of brings us alive, and it is kind of seeing other people succeed. I
Yes,
just
absolutely.
Yes, I just thrive off of that too, and I feel like, especially for you and in real estate, that is you are seeing people through to a huge new phase of their life. And that's kind of what I want with this podcast too, is just to really share someone's story of their journey and their success at the end, or throughout the journey. So I think that's really cool. I love that. We kind of have when you answered that, I was like, oh, I really feel like that's the same thing. I love seeing other people's success. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Very cool. So let's talk a little bit too about wearing many hats, because you do a lot of things. You are a very multi-passionate person and are involved in a lot. So tell us a few of the things that you do other than just real estate, because that's just one of your hats.
Well, like I said before, I'm a mommy of 3 boys. I'm a wife. I'm a minister. What else do I do? Oh, I just got accredited with my IMBD credits as an actress, model, and dancer. So I do that as well. I'm a content creator because I'm claiming it. I've had a couple of viral videos. So in my mind, I'm a content creator.
That's right.
A choreographer. I love to dance. I work with a really, really close friend of mine. She goes to different schools, and she brought me along. It was like, it's an opportunity to help increase the self-esteem of young girls, and I want you to come in and teach them dances, so choreography as well. So that's all I do. It's nothing.
I love it. And I love how diverse all of those things are. They are so different from each other.
They
Why is
are.
it They are. Why is it important to you to be doing the things that you love?
It's important to do the things that you love because it brings the best side of you out. It helps you keep moving forward. Once you do something that you love and you see the change that happens, it's addictive, right? It's like, oh my God, I need more. I want to do more. And you don't waste your time, moping around in your despair or in those things that have kept you in bondage for so long.
Okay, I always ask everybody this question. So what does it mean to you to be living in your legacy?
So to me, to be living in your legacy means to live intentionally, and I would say live abundantly as well. I was just in church Sunday, and sometimes you come in just kind of like, oh, I'm just here, you know, and it was like, okay, being intentional, like absorb this moment. This is a beautiful moment that you have right now. You look to your left and your mom is over there praying. You look to your right, your brother, he's getting prepared to do a sermon. You look behind you, your husband's there. Just being intentional about embracing what's going on around you in that moment and realizing that how good it is instead of how bad it is, or how sometimes you just don't feel like, we depend so much on our emotions, and it's like sometimes your emotions can get the best of you and can distract you from what's really in front of you and what's going on around you. So living in your legacy, I would definitely say, is living intentionally and living abundantly, like not just, thinking of abundance as wealth and money, but those moments that you had to hold your child, those moments that you had to tell somebody I love you, those moments that you had to make a funny, silly video that's going to brighten somebody's day, like, just living a life of abundance and just abundant in joy, peace, faith, kindness, all of those fruits of the spirit, like that kind of abundance, living your legacy. And let me add this too. Because when I think of legacy, I think about my mom, my grandma, my great grandmother. So, as well as living my legacy, like living a life that they may not have had the opportunity to live. And so, taking advantage of those little chips away at the wall that they made that opened the door for me to live a bright and fulfilling life. So, just not taking for granted the legacy that my great grandmama lived by, not being wasteful. My grandmother didn't waste anything. My grandmother now that loves to cook, she loves to bring family together, living in that, like living in that legacy. That's beautiful to me. So
Oh,
that's what I would define it as.
that is beautiful. I love that. And I really feel like talking about gratitude,
Mm.
it is a practice, and it is something that we
Yes,
do have to kind of change our mindset to be more thoughtful of. And
absolutely.
that's one thing I'm working on this year. I always say I'm going to work on it, and then I'm like, I just kind of get away from it. But the practice of gratitude, of just every day spending a few minutes thinking of the things that you're grateful for, that you have, the opportunities that we have. I mean, yes, doors have been
Mhm.
opened for us because of the work of other people, and it's amazing to even think about that. So I love that you said
Yes.
that. That's beautiful.
Thank you, Ju. Thank you.
Can you tell me, Jamese, about a situation maybe where it looked like a door was closing, but it was actually maybe a setup for your future calling?
Yes, absolutely. So my brother pulled me into the office. He's a pastor. So he pulled me into the office one day and he's like, Janice, I think it's time for you to become a minister. And I was like, no. I immediately made an excuse. I was like, with my husband, we like to spend more time together, and ministry can be too busy. I don't want to church my children to death, and like I'll just making up all kind of excuses, even though I felt in my heart, that call. But so just when he's like, okay, cool. And so months and months went by, time and time went by, and he finally was like, you know what? No more excuses. It's time. So he called me up in the middle of the service, and I was just crying because I was like, Lord, I don't want to do this, but I feel it in my heart. And the reason why I didn't want to do it is because I just felt like, it's such a big, that's a big responsibility. Now the magnifying glass is on you. People are going to be watching how you live your life if you're living it according to these high standards. And I'm like, Lord, I am so flawed. This is definitely a closed door for me. Like now I can't, I can't I like my cocktails, I like wine, I like, being the life of the party when I come in, like, hey y'all, let's turn up, let's dance. And I'm like, God, all of that is gonna go away. All of that is gonna go away. I love social media. I like being silly, goofy. I don't like being, so serious as you've seen like a lot of religious figures be. So I was like, you know what? God, this is definitely a closed door. Lo and behold, I was like, okay, I'll just try it. I'll just try it. And so I said yes. And ever since then, Jill, it has just been, it's been an amazing journey. Like so many doors have opened up for me once I finally gave God my yes. And I was like, okay, Lord, I'll do this. And it was like, you didn't have to change that much. Like people still love me just as I am. They still love me being quirky and silly and fun and bubbly. And, you know, they've been like, if anything, it's drawn them even more to me because it's like, oh my God, can I tell you about the situation? Do you mind praying for me? What kind of scriptures can you do? Girl, when you said this, it just changed my life. And I'm like, okay, Lord, like, you know what you be doing. And so I did. I felt like it was going to be an obstacle because I felt like it was just going to shut out all of me. And God
Mm.
was like, just give me your yes, and I'll take care of those things that you've been worrying about. Like, let me handle those things. Those things are for me to handle. You stop worrying about that. I just need you to walk with me and tell me yes, and just see what I'm gonna do in your life. And it has been, it's been crazy because I was like, God, sometimes I don't believe. Like, how do I preach to somebody and I'm struggling with my faith? Like, just all these internal struggles. And God was like, I'll handle that. I just need you to know that what's on the other side of that door is going to blow your mind once you give me your yes. And so that's just one of the things that I felt like was really going to set me back. I thought it was going to be a wedge in my marriage because I was like, okay, I don't want to put ministry before, my family, before my kids, because I've grown up, being a church girl, growing up, seeing how it can be a competition between family and ministry. And I was like, God, I don't want to do that to my family. And God has taken care of us in so many ways. Sometimes my kids, like, are we going to church? And I'm like, wait a minute, what? So it's been amazing. It has been. It was definitely a setup for a really great life.
You said so many things that I want to just capture. One of the things that I'm kind of sensing a theme is you knew deep down, and I almost feel like God has placed people in your life to call things out of you, to affirm your beliefs. And I just kind of want to highlight the importance maybe of surrounding yourself with people who love you and support you and who pull truth out of you.
Yes.
That is a really cool trait. And I don't know, is it something that you obviously, is it something that you do to keep those people close, or keep a good guard on other people who might steer you wrong?
Yes. Yes. I'm keeping very, very close contact with those people because I mean they're like, bread for me. Like, I need them. It's like they're so necessary. And the people that it's crazy, Jill, because I really don't have to battle a lot with the people that are not good for me because I'm so secured by the ones that are there for me. Like it's almost like they're a gate of protection for me because it's like you can't get too close to her. It's crazy. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just an energy that people are kind of like, you know what, I might need to stay off of her because she going, not that I'm not sounding braggadocious, like, she going somewhere to the top, but like she's on a whole nother wavelength that I'm just not on right now. And I don't know if that kind of stops them from coming around me or leeching off of me and leeching off my spirit, but it hasn't been challenging for me to keep those people away that are no good for me. But the ones that have been drawn to me, they stick around, and I don't and they're very loyal. I can depend on them, and I keep in very close contact with them. I call them almost like every day. and and I think it's not so much of them just being drawn to me, but I'm drawn to them. Like it's something in them that's like, I need something from you, and they're like, I need something. So it's a fair exchange. So it's not like I'm sucking the life out of them or they're sucking the life out of me. It's a fair exchange.
Like attracts like. And I really feel
Yes,
like, if you exude that positive energy, that's what's going to come back to you.
yes, absolutely.
That's wonderful. We've been, I'm taking a course from Kathy Heller, who's a podcaster, and
Mhm.
she talks a lot about that energy, and what people want is that energy exchange, that positivity, that
Mhm.
attention. And that's what people crave, is really
Yeah.
that. I love the just even analogy of kind of having your circle of protection, but still, just like what you said about stepping into ministry, you're still such a relatable person that so many people can come to you and feel comfortable bringing situations, real life situations and issues to you because they know you're real.
Yeah. Thank you, dear. Thank you.
I just want to maybe even touch on how, we also talked before about how you feel and how everybody, fear can be so crippling. Like it can really stop you
Yes.
dead in your tracks from even trying. And how, yes, you had these people to speak, that yes into you, but you also have that gentle whisper from God saying, I've got you. Just take one step. Just take one
Yes.
step. Just take one step. Um,
Yes.
let's talk about that, and maybe just, you know, the saying yes, even though the fear is still there. The fear doesn't go away. The fear is still
Hmm.
there, but that
Yes.
saying yes.
It doesn't go away. It it was a very, very powerful stronghold on me. And I don't even know why. Like I can't pinpoint where the fear necessarily started. But it held me back so bad. And now that I've matured, now that I've gotten older, and I see that it's just all just an illusion, just to keep you from obtaining the best and obtaining all that God has for you. I don't know how to explain it, because it's like I don't know. I don't know how I don't know if I've even overcome it. But I don't know. I get something in me was just like, just try it. Like what's the harm in trying it? I think sometimes we over spiritualize, definitely overthink, and it's like, just try it. Like, who said that you have to sign your life over to this? Like, it's just, you just give it a try. Give it a try. If it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. You move on. And so that's kind of how that's why I put my headspace at. It was like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. What's the worst that can happen? Other than that, you find out that it was or it wasn't for you. If it was for you, then we about to rock and roll. If it wasn't for you, you're still gonna rock and roll. You're just gonna rock and roll in a different direction. That's just where it went. It was like, like, just try. The least you can do is try. If you don't try, you don't know. So you're just sitting around not knowing. I'd rather know that it wasn't for me than just not knowing at all.
Yeah, to get that confirmation. I do think whenever we want to do something new, or are thinking about something new, we almost like make up things to stop us from making that
Yes.
progress. We make up these fears and ideas of, well, what if this? What if that? What if this happens? What if this doesn't happen? What if someone sees it? What if someone doesn't see it? Like,
Right.
it can be any scenario. We just do it to stop ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, why are you, why are you tripping? Like, stop this. Like, you're a mama, for God's sake. Like, that's one of the bravest jobs you can do. Like, are you serious? And you're about to be afraid of this one little thing. It was just, when you sit back and think about it, it's like, gosh, like, was I really that scared? Like, why? Like, what? And sometimes it takes that encouragement and that reflection on the accomplishments that you've had, to say, if you accomplished this, if you were able to do this, if you were able to make it through this, what makes you think that you won't be able to make it through that? Like, it trips me out how much time you waste
Mm.
waddling in fear, when
Mm-hmm.
you could really be out here killing it. And then just to think about the nation and the tribe that's waiting on you. Like, God has a specific group of people that's assigned to you. But if you don't jump into your destiny, you're holding them back from jumping into their destiny. So, I mean, I don't want to be accountable for that. Especially being a person that loves to see people prosper and succeed, So it's like, you're holding them back from their prosperity or their success, because you're too busy wanting to get your feelings fed up and get 1,000 confirmations that you should do this, when you know within yourself that this is something you should be doing. And stop making it seem like it's something that you got to sign your life over to once you get into it. I know, for me, I really don't like to think about my time being taken away from me. And so that fear of, oh my gosh, what if this takes too much time out of my life? How will I get that time back? How will I do this? And it's like, what, God will recover that time. He's all powerful. You worried about a couple of months, a year or two of doing this venture. You never know what other door is going to open. Like, who said you have to be committed for the rest of your life?
We do.
So,
We tend to think in absolutes, like everything is
yes,
forever.
yes, you articulated that so well. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. That was so good. Yes, we make it seem like it's absolute. Like, you don't have to commit to this for the rest of your life, but just give it a try. Just give it a try.
I love that. I know one of the things I had heard about, there's this girl who she's from the UK, but she had something that she calls the blueprint for failure.
Uh-huh.
And basically she writes down whenever she's thinking about something else, then she knows that fear is holding her back. She writes down all the what ifs, all of them, just whatever, pages and pages of what ifs. And she answers
Mhm.
them all. And then she gets to the bottom. She says, okay, what if? Like, all right, let's go. Like, this is the worst that can happen. I wrote it all down. I'm good. Check. Like, let's move forward.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's like, that is, I mean, it's a little bit of crazy activity, but like it makes sense because that is maybe what we don't even like verbalize. We
Mhm.
have these what ifs, but we don't even like really go through them, so that it stops us so short
Yeah.
before we even like put thought to it.
That is so good. I love that. That is so, I'm just eating it up like, oh my God, okay. How can I keep this in my mind? Because I love that. That is so good. I
Yeah.
mean, just like you say, thinking about focusing on the what if, like, you just have, it's just like a quick thought. And then you're like, okay, I'm just not going to do it. Instead of just really taking the time to say, like, okay, well, what if this happens? Then what? Like, we
Right.
don't even follow it through.
Yeah.
I
Then
think
what?
that's,
What's the worst
wow.
that can happen?
I
And
like that.
then
Thank you,
and then
Jill, for
you're
that.
able to take that next step.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you, Jill, for that. That was good.
Welcome. You're welcome. Well, we'll thank Andrea McLean because she's the one that said it.
Andrew, thank you,
Andrea
Andrea.
McLean. Thank you, Andrea. All right, Jamese. Oh, throwing the mic. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I see myself with my feet up, with my coconut drink with a little umbrella sticking out of it in Hawaii, because hopefully by then I would have had a lot of viral videos. I've gotten a call from Tyler Perry to be in a couple of his movies. I've been on a red carpet. I've sold $1 million homes. In 5 years, I see myself resting.
That's
I
amazing.
see myself resting, vacationing and resting.
I love that vision. You have your vision board of just like your feet up with like flip flops on, or like, that's your vision board.
It will be. It's crazy you say that because I was supposed to be doing a vision board with my cousin a couple of weeks ago, and I declare that's what I had in my mind. Like, I'm gonna find a picture with some flip flops and some toes up, the sunset in the background over the ocean. That's gonna be on there. Like, that's my focus.
I love this time that we're living in because really anything is possible. Like,
Yeah,
who would have thought that you could post a silly video, you get a bazillion views, people start contacting you? Like, it's crazy that that is so many people's story right now and that it can be
yeah,
overnight. I mean, it really can be overnight. Yes, content creation. I'm doing a little bit of the same. You put in
yeah,
work. It is a lot of
yeah.
work. It is a lot of unpaid, unseen work. But it is fun. I feel like
It
it brings out
is.
like an artistic side of people and it's kind of fun to dabble in. I'm enjoying it. I'm sure you're enjoying it.
I love it.
Um,
I love it.
yes, it is. Yeah, it's something that never in a million years would I have said I make videos on Instagram and TikTok. Like, what? But here we are.
Here we are. It's funny though, because when I was younger, my brother is actually the one that's the creative, artistic one. Like he writes plays. Even he's a pastor, but he's written 3 books now. He writes plays and all that. So when we were younger, he was the one that was into drama and acting and all of that stuff. And so we would get the camcorder. Back then it was called a camcorder. It was big. And we would make little videos, little funny home videos. And it's crazy now, before it's just crazy now because it's like, gosh, we were doing that 20 something years ago. But if we would have had access to social media like that back then, superstars by now. But it's so funny now because it's like now when I see it, I'm like, we used to do that. Like, why didn't I come up with YouTube? Why didn't I come up with Facebook or something? Like, I wish because of the way that content creation has just blown up. It's crazy.
It is so
It's
crazy.
crazy.
I do want to ask you, like, if people want to connect with you, where is a good place to find you?
They can find me on Facebook at Jamese Blake, as well as Instagram, the exact same thing, Jamese Blake, and TikTok, Jamese Blake.
Awesome. And then I always want to wrap out the show by just thanking you for showing up today and being authentically you. I feel like the most costly thing you can do is be real, and I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Jill. Oh my gosh. I thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. This is my first time ever doing this. So thank you. Like you just opened the door for me. So thank you so